What's up and good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. We're getting the Mini X loaded up into my Diamond C trailer, and I wanted to make this video to kind of recap ownership of this Diamond C trailer. And we're also going to be putting it to use today. Now, I have owned this trailer for a few months, and this is actually my second Diamond C trailer. First, I bought my 2022 Diamond C LPT, which is a low profile dump trailer, and I'm assuming the T stands for the telescopic because these are telescopic dump trailers as opposed to scissor lifts, which scissor lifts are the ones that you see kind of underneath the body of the dump box, whereas the telescopic lift, just like the big dump trucks, is mounted up front here, and it's that big telescopic pole that goes up. So I bought the 2022 thinking like, this is my absolute dream trailer. Finally had enough money to purchase my dream trailer, and I only wanted to buy a trailer once. As you guys know, Diamond C's they're very pricey trailers, right? These are kind of the cream of the crop when it comes to dump trailers. So what a lot of people will do is they'll start with a cheaper trailer, and then you realize either you break it, destroy it, or for whatever reason it's just not for you, and you slowly upgrade, and eventually you end up in a higher end trailer like this. Not always, but that seems to be the trend that I have seen. But to me, I like to kind of skip steps, right? Instead of buying 4 trailers to get to the one that I want, let me just save up the money and buy the one that I want right off the bat instead of spending a bunch of money on a bunch of different trailers. So I did a ton of research before jumping into a Diamond C. Again, it's a ton of money. It's a big investment. You want to make sure you're spending your money wisely. And although I absolutely loved that 2022, like anything, there's some things that I thought could have been improved. And well, of course, just my luck with the 2023s, they basically improved on every single complaint that I had in the 2022. And that's the reason I upgraded to the 2023 behind me, which is almost identical, other than I opted for just about every Gucci option you could put on this 2023. We'll go over a few of the changes from 22 to 23 real quick. The telescopic hydraulic ram. Now this compared to the scissor lift, these are notoriously slower, albeit they are much, much stronger. I have loaded the crap out of this thing, and we are going to do it again today. We're definitely going to be overloading this trailer a couple of times today, and it has never not dumped. Whereas I've seen tons of scissor lift dump trailers that the load's too far forward, it's too heavy, and they have no power to get it up, and then you're jumping in there and you're hand shoveling out your load, which is just miserable. These things are very stout, but they were notoriously slow. Well, Diamond C fixed that when they upgraded to the new hydraulic pump system that's right there. They actually worked directly with the manufacturer of this whole system to pair it perfectly with their RAM, and it is significantly faster. We've done a few compare and contrast. We actually put this trailer next to my 2022, and it's a big difference, especially when you're doing this multiple times a day. The time adds up. The other thing is on this neck, obviously the 2022 to 23, you get this big old beefy neck, which allows for this ginormous toolbox as opposed to just the little triangle one that went on the tongue of the 2022. This thing is massive and I love it. Obviously the tarp system, we're going to see that a little bit later, but this tarp system is just completely renewed. It actually makes you want to use the tarp instead of finding an excuse to not use it. One of my favorite features are these latches right here, which keep these doors open. The old school way, there was a little chain holder that you kind of slid a chain into, something similar to that, and then you hooked it onto the door. You had to go looking for the chain. You didn't want to leave the chain hanging off the side of the trailer all the time in case it fell off while you're driving. It was just an unnecessary thing, right? Like there had to be a better way, and well, they came up with it with this little latch system right here. And it auto latches, which is nice. On the back, I added the rear stabilizer jack, so those you just drop down real quick. And you can see when I was loading it earlier, it doesn't allow the front of the trailer to pick up, which makes loading way less sketchy. It doesn't end up flexing the suspension on your truck in all kinds of weird ways. And one of the sketchiest things that can happen if you don't have something like this is you can end up taking all the weight off of those rear wheels of your truck. And if you're on a slope, pretty much your rear wheels when you're in park, that's what's holding the truck there. So if you take all the weight off the bed of the truck and the wheels start to pick up off the ground, you, the trailer, and your piece of equipment are going flying down that hill. So having those jacks is nice because it eliminates that from happening. One of the other options I opted for was the sideboard extensions. So basically this 2x6 is like it's a sacrificial layer, right? If you're loading with a skid steer or anything, I mean really, and you drop something here or the bucket slaps, it's gonna slap this piece of wood, tear the piece of wood up. When it's all jacked up, you swap it out for a new piece of wood and you are good to go. When I bought my 2022, obviously I bought it right off the lot. So whatever options the dealer put on, that's what I was stuck with. Now, I was worried that I wasn't gonna be able to close the door on the Mini X. It's also why, well, one of the reasons I went with the 2-foot sides versus the 3-foot or the 4-foot was I wanted to be able to close the door on the Mini X, not have to leave it open while we are transporting or anything like that. And you can see the door clears these boards perfectly. So it was a good option to go with. Back up front, you guys know, because I talk about it in every freaking video with this trailer, the hydraulic tongue jack. I will never order another trailer without one of these things. It just makes life so much easier. My last trailer, especially with this hitch combo, and I know a lot of people comment on this hitch combo, the reason we have the Demco hitch so far up is because when we hook it up to the 450, that's where it likes to be. And when I'm hauling the heaviest, it's usually hooked up to the F450. We could probably drop it one and it still not be too funky on the 450, but that's where she sits right now. It does make the hitch when we're running it on the 6.0 a little bit funky, and I do admit that is a little hokey and a little sketchy. However, those Gen Y hitches are rated to run as either a drop hitch where that portion goes down, or I don't know, a raised hitch, I guess is the right word for that. This truck though is super low. It's a 2-wheel drive 6.0 with no airbags in the rear. Plus, you know, there's a good amount of tongue weight on these shorter dump trailers, so it just kind of squats down a little bit. It's a little bit funky looking up here. Speaking of a lot of tongue weight because of a short trailer, I opted for a 14-foot trailer. The reason being was I thought it was the smallest that I could comfortably get the Mini X in without having to finagle it, turn the boom sideways, and do all kinds of weird stuff. I was sick of bringing my 24-foot deck over around just to drop the Mini X off on a job site, considering that trailer is 30-foot long, and we're usually in some pretty tight neighborhoods. And dang old fly, get out of here. So as you can see, we have the backfill blade on the Mini X. Still got a little bit of room. I'm trying to obviously keep most of the weight above the axles while still having plenty of tongue weight. And well, we definitely know we have plenty of tongue weight. But even then, I mean, I could pitch the boom sideways, but there's no point. We're not sticking out really. We're about 2.5, maybe 3-foot max, which we're allowed up to 3 feet. But for my type of work and what we do, I think it is the perfect size trailer. But for those of you that are on the fence, because I bought this without knowing if the Mini X was gonna fit perfectly, 14-foot holds an E32 just fine. Now we're gonna be hauling a bunch of dirt out today, and that is a ton of weight. And it's been moist out. We've had a little bit of rain. It's been humid, so the dirt's probably wet, which makes it even heavier. If you guys don't know, like, dirt in these things is probably one of the heaviest things you can put in them. Obviously, like, concrete's pretty dense, but there's gonna be little air holes if you're throwing a bunch of broken concrete in there. But if you're packing these things full of dirt, they get heavy very fast. And as much as I love the old 6.0, and she's been running good for me, and she's been a solid runner for the last few months, I'm nervous on trying to put, you know, a full trailer worth of dirt and pull it all the way out to the ranch, because we're dumping stuff back at the ranch today because it's not the greatest dirt and nobody wants it. So to the ranch it goes, but I'm not sure if the 6.0 is going to be up for the task because we got some really steep grades to bring stuff out to the ranch. So it might be swapping to Papa Rhino's 450 just for the sake of not killing the 6.0. Now today we're actually heading back to the house flipping nightmare project that a lot of you guys followed along, and a lot of new subscribers actually came from that project. So thank you to you guys that subscribed to the channel after watching those videos and are new here. The main reason we're heading over there is we got to haul all of the dirt out that we dug out of the backyard. Initially, when we first started the project, there just wasn't really money in the budget to haul the dirt as well. So I always like to work within people's budgets, and I said, you know what, there's a chance if you guys put this on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace that somebody will come for free fill dirt and at least take some of it out of here. And well, unfortunately, that didn't really happen. So it's been a few months since we did that project. The owners called me up and said they've got the money now to haul the dirt out, so that is what we're gonna get a jump start on today. A lot of you guys always bring up when we're doing projects, like, just haul the stuff out to your house, just haul it out to your house. I don't live close to any of the places that we are working, so hauling to my house is not always the cheapest option. In fact, sometimes it's significantly more expensive than if we can find somewhere closer to haul it. The reason being is fuel. It eats up a ton of fuel going back and forth between my house and some of these jobs. And time. We can only do so many trips in a day if we're going out to the house versus if we find somewhere closer in town that we can dump at. So on a project like this where it's dirt that nobody really is gonna wanna take, it's pretty costly to bring it out to the ranch, but that's pretty much our only option. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's jump in the 6.0, let's head over there. Oh, before we go, I almost forgot. One of the other upgrades I did on the trailer was I went from drum brakes to electric over hydraulic disc brakes, and that is a huge improvement on braking and stopping when you have these things fully loaded down. Only issue is though, the stock brake controller on the 6.0 did not like the electric over hydraulic, and it just didn't really recognize them properly, or the feedback between the two, so they weren't working properly. So even though we got this fixed and I loved having the factory brake controller working properly, unfortunately it just wouldn't talk to this trailer. So we ended up having to go with this Prodigy brake controller. It's the Prodigy P2, and you can switch over between just electric and electric over hydraulic. So the way you do it is you press the brake down, I believe, and then Let me see if I remember how to do this. Hold down the boost button. I'll go to another thing here. There we go. Hold release, hold it down again. Hold it back down again. It'll go to, there we go. E is for electric. Tap it again. Electric over hydraulic. We slide the little bar on the bottom and we are now set. Electric over hydraulic. Good to go. Alrighty, y'all. Well, we just got the Mini X unloaded and I noticed a major issue. I don't know how I missed this. I don't know how we didn't notice it when we were doing all the tree work around the property, because that was the last thing we did when we used this. So it must have rattled out for taking it from the tree line to the trailer. But we are missing a very important pin that holds this hydraulic ram in place, and this one's one of the most important ones because that's what actually makes the bucket curl. And I checked in the trailer, didn't rattle out on the trailer. Yikes, that one's kind of important. Without it, we can't do anything today. And obviously, let's see, today is a Sunday, tomorrow is Labor Day, so there's not gonna be a Bobcat shop open, obviously today, let alone tomorrow, and we gotta get that dirt out of here. So I think I'm gonna do something you probably shouldn't do, and I'm gonna hokey this together, and hopefully we don't tear up this surface area in here, because once that goes, you get all kinds of slop and crap in your machine. I'm thinking some gas pipe from Home Depot threaded on both ends that I could screw a cap on will hold this in place. I don't have really any other option, at least not in my brain, that could work for this in the meantime to just get us through today. That's all we gotta do. Thankfully, this job is just down the street from a Home Depot. We're gonna race over there right now. Papa Rhino is also on his way, so I can do a truck swap with him. And then it just hit me, assuming we can find the pin at the house, we really only need this fixed to last for one trailer load, which is probably gonna be a pretty quick trailer load. And obviously the Mini X is not the ideal tool for loading out dirt, but it's all that I got. Definitely couldn't get the farm tractor into a situation like this. If it was a bigger job site, sure. But then we would need two trailers because the farm tractor is not gonna fit inside the dump trailer. So yes, at some point in my life, I will be purchasing a skid steer. I'd like to get a walk on or a walk behind / stand on one first, because we do so many tight jobs and tight backyards. Yeah. Let's see. If the 1-inch pipe fits.
And you got the detector, so you can.
Ooh, it's tiny. 1.25 might have worked. I don't know.
I think it'll hurt anything, but.
Hopefully, it's just temporarily enough until we get back to the ranch and we find the real one. Because obviously, once these wallow out, you're screwed. And it's like welding and cutting and doing all kinds of stuff that you don't want to do. All right, y'all, let's see if she works. Look at that. It's not even moving up there. The pipe's not moving at all. All right, we'll do a quick trailer / truck swap so Papa Rhino can get out of here. Yo, look at that trailer. Talk about having no tongue weight. Triple axle, and all the axles come right up to the front. It's kind of a wild build there. Of course, the big, beautiful F450. Alright, we are all backed up into the driveway, and you can see we cutting it real close right there between the hitch and the trailer. We pulled this Gen Y off the Denali because this one is rated to, I believe, 30,000 pounds, 26,000 or 30,000. The Phantom X one that we have from Gen Y is only rated to 16, so we know we're gonna be loading our heavy today. So we're using the big boy hitch there. Yeah, look at that. We are just barely clearing underneath that. Hopefully no more delays. Let's get this first load loaded up. Now, when you're doing jobs like this, especially when you've got like only so much space in your dump trailer, it becomes real tempting to just like, we'll just keep piling it on. Let me try to get it to 2 trips. However, like with dirt, you really run the risk of just being so heavily overloaded, like you're gonna break something. One of the reasons I spend the money to go with a nicer trailer like the Diamond C is because I know I'm gonna overload it. I know I'm gonna exceed the weight capacity at times on the trailer, and I want a trailer that's built better to where I stand a better chance of when I do that, whether it be accidentally or on purpose, the trailer's not just gonna buckle in half. I've seen tons of dump trailers out there where you start to load them a little bit heavy and the axles just go and bend in half, and then like your trailer's pretty useless until you cut those out and put new ones on. So while I'm tempted to load more than this, I think we might just call this good. Now, this material is actually much nicer than I remember, and this would work great at the restaurant project as fill, because we really don't want to put that crap that's there back into the plumbing trenches, but nobody really wants to pay us to import new material. So I'm contemplating taking this over to the restaurant. We'll pay to export the crappy material that's there. Now, let's see if we didn't just put all this weight down and we're touching the ground. Oh, yep, we are touching the ground. Okay. Yeah, we kind of thought that was going to happen. Good thing is the truck has airbags in the rear, so we should be able to pick up the rear of the truck enough to get this out of here. Yeah. Next time we're not gonna go quite as far up the driveway. Alrighty, let's show you guys how easy the tarp system is to put on. You just turn the handle out and it's all spring loaded. I mean, the tarp practically like unwinds itself. There we go. One little pull to tighten her back up. Put your handle in so you know your legal width. Now, the only issue I can see with my plan to take this to the restaurant project is I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the trailer into the back parking lot to be able to dump this. It's a very narrow alley. This is obviously a pretty long setup. Alrighty, GPS is telling me it's 41 minutes to go back to the ranch. So that just puts into perspective. Hour and a half round trips, add 2 hours for us to load up and all that. So 2 hours every trip to go to the ranch, which is why it's expensive to go to the ranch to dump stuff, even though you're not technically paying dump fees to get rid of the stuff. Now, I just checked and we were only 16 minutes to the restaurant. Decisions. If I get there and there's no room and I can't get the trailer in, like, this is all for nothing. All right, screw it, y'all. I'm doing it. We're going to the restaurant. This is gonna save me a ton of time if I can get just one load dropped there, then take the next one out to the ranch, and then there'll probably be a little cleanup load after that. All right, we made it over to the restaurant project, and the main reason I'm even attempting this is because I knew the little baby Mini X is still here. So if I couldn't get perfectly in, we could move the dirt with this and kind of throw it in further. But it's looking like we're gonna be able to back kind of straight in. We'll just pitch the trailer and we'll probably end up dropping it all right here. Alrighty, now we'll bring the tarp up and Again, everything is spring loaded, kind of like your garage door, so it takes the weight off of it. Dude, now that we came here, we probably could have loaded this thing a little bit heavier and just got rid of a lot of it here. But you can see this is gonna be a lot nicer in the plumbing trenches than this stuff, which we kind of took out in big clumps. And once you get clumps like that, like, yeah, this will dry out eventually, but then we gotta break the clumps up to even be able to move it with a shovel to put it back in the plumbing trenches. Like, it's just not ideal material. Well, we did pretty good. There's just a tiny little bit that came out in the alley. So we'll jump on the little baby excavator, pull that back inside, throw our straw wattle back up, and we are out of here. I wish I could bring it all here because this was very, very convenient, but we only need so much to put back into those plumbing trenches. Now, I've said it since I got the trailer, and one thing I still wish I had was a wireless remote. Supposedly, Diamond Sea says they're working on one for this model. We might have to just build our own in the meantime. Or at least there should be like an auto down on these ones. And I can understand why you wouldn't, because somebody's gonna end up getting crushed underneath it. But if this thing would automatically go down as we're like going around and, you know, cleaning stuff up and all that, it would make it nice. Now, I called this machine off like 4 days ago at this point, and they haven't come to pick it up. So if it's here, we're gonna use it. Now, if we compare the pile of what I brought, this little booger right here compared to the giant pile of stuff that like we really don't want to put back in, I think we could bring another load over here at least. Maybe all of it. I don't know. We're gonna load up another load. I'm gonna load it heavier this time, knowing that we're just coming to this short distance, and we're gonna bring another load over here. Man, is that a good looking truck and trailer combo. Okay, back for round 2. This time we kept the truck a little bit further down in the driveway, so we shouldn't have to run into the risk of that thing touching the ground. I do like to always chalk the wheels though, even though we have the parking brake on the truck, but that's a lot of weight at a very steep angle pushing down. Jump back in the Mini X. Let's get load number 2. All right, put a decent amount more this time than we did last time. Should have no problem hauling this over there. And then I'm hoping we're shooting for one more load, and I'm hoping it's not one of those ones where I like have to throw a couple little extra scoops on there just because we're that close to being done, and we end up having to really overload just to call it quits and be done. But we're gonna find out when we get back, because the next load's going out to the ranch. You can see in front of us this big steep hill. Just getting out of this neighborhood, there's a lot of really big hills. I'm glad we switched over to the 450. This thing just, with the 10-speed transmission, has absolutely no problem towing that trailer fully loaded. Whereas the 6.0, we don't know. She's like about in her range towing the Mini X, which the Mini X weighs about 8,000 pounds, somewhere around there. Plus the trailer at another 4,500. What are we? So about 12,500, 13,000 pounds total. With this dirt in there, we're significantly heavier than that. Now another thing I upgraded on this trailer is not only the axles to the oil bath axles, which some people say like they prefer the non-oil bath axles. We'll see if I ever have issues with these, but so far they've been all right. But I also upgraded the tires. That was like the one point that always worried me about my last Diamond C trailer. Again, knowing I'm gonna overload it at times, was a tire blown out because the tires just weren't rated for the weight that I was putting into the trailer. So we upgraded to these tires. I don't even honestly remember what they are. G rated, H rated, F rated, whichever way is the heavier weight rated. But these bad boys were significantly upgraded for the last trailer. And on my last trailer, if I was making this tight of a turn with this much weight in the trailer, the axles, one axle would have been this way, the other axle would have been like that way. Like you see that on most trailers. These things dang near are perfectly in line. There's a little bit of deflection, but I think it's honestly because we're up on a hill. But these axles are just so much more stout than I had on my 2022. The good thing about this truck being lifted so high is you really don't have to worry about jackknifing into the bumper corners. Like you see a lot of trucks that have a little dent right here is from doing stuff like this. But this truck, really, the bumpers would clear the trailer, which is pretty wild. We got her jackknifed in. I can't really go back any further because we have that fence right there that's gonna end up getting too close to the swing door. I do wish these opened all the way, like almost 90 degrees or 180 degrees or 270, I guess, if you're going from there. But unfortunately they don't, so we gotta take that into account. Now, I do not wanna drive forward. Like I'm gonna get this all the way up, and typically, you know, whatever falls out, but there's usually too big of a pile in the back. So you have to drive forward to get the rest to come out or have a space for it to go. I don't want to do that because we don't want to get too close to the alleyway this time because it's our last load. So I'm going to go up, and then I'll probably jump on the little baby X and pull some of it back. It is very nice having a machine at each site that I'm working at. All right, let's do a quick little scrape. Pull that out. I'm also trying not to hit the bottom of the trailer. I don't want to scrape it all up. Even though, yes, it is a work trailer, it is a dump trailer, it's gonna get beat up and scraped up, but the more we baby it, the longer it lasts without the floor completely getting all jacked up. That ought to be enough right there. We pull forward, that little bit will stay within the parking lot. Now, I'm sure there's at least one person that's genuinely interested in the plumbing trenches. So the last project, we pretty much got most of it done, but we still had a lot of fine tuning to do. This is the plot where we're tunneling out. We're only going to here for now because we need all of this space still before we actually, so the plumbers are gonna do all the interior, stub it out to here. We'll get all that inspected, backfilled, and then from here, we'll dig it out to the actual sewer in the alley. Inside though, you can see this trench. I don't know why he wanted us to saw cut it this big, but he did. But this is only gonna be the soda line, so he said actually just dig it 12 inches wide. So we dug that. This, it's gonna be dark in here, but this is all done, nice and graded. Look, we can see we're 35 inches down here. That's all done. This area is all dug out. All of the interior bathroom plumbing that's gonna connect from there to there is dug out. And then we still got all this dirt inside, which is a significant amount of dirt. But the plumbing trenches are all looking good. Those are actually gonna be 2 piers for a staircase that's gonna be going up. We opted just to not dig those now because we wanted to get all the plumbing trenches done first. So now the next step is the plumber's gonna come in and do all of his plumbing. Then it gets inspected, we come in, we backfill, and then from there we'll dig out where those concrete piers are gonna be. We'll tie in all of our rebar to patch all this concrete together, put our rebar in there, and then we'll do one big concrete pour and close all of this up. But here's to hoping that this is the 3rd and final load. Because timing will work out great to take it back to the ranch, but if we gotta go for one more, we're just not gonna have time to do it today. I'm also genuinely curious, once we get back to the ranch, where the heck the pin for this thing is. Hopefully we can find that as well. Now, I already know there's gonna be comments telling me I need to buy a dump truck. I don't enjoy trucking material back and forth all day long. Like, that's just not me. I'd rather pay somebody to do it. The reason I bought this dump trailer is for jobs that we only need 5 yards or 10 yards or we need pallets of block brought in. Obviously with Papa Rhino's truck, I didn't want him having to put pallets of block in the back of that truck and jack that whole truck up. Whereas with the Kodiak, he had the big flatbed on the back. He can stack 2, 3, 4 pallets on that thing, no problem. So that's the main reason I wanted a dump trailer. And for the stuff at the ranch, you know, I need 3 yards, 5 yards of something. We can bring it ourselves without having to pay out the butt for some trucking fees. But if there's like a big import-export job, I would rather pay to have some truckers come out and move it for me. That way I can stay in the machine all day long. If I gotta load the stuff, jump in the truck, drive across town, unload it, drive back, like it just eats up so much time. Well, we still ended up with a full load. I mean, we probably could put a couple more buckets in here, but for the trip we're taking, I feel like this is about as full load as I want to be. Good news is though, we made it. They've got a nice flat area up here on their yard now to enjoy, use, landscape, whatever they want to do. We're gonna leave the Mini here overnight. Not the best neighborhood, so let's just say a little prayer for the Mini X tonight that she don't get messed. Last time we were here, we were able to hide it in the backyard. We're kind of chasing the sunlight to make it home. I want to be able to check the property tonight so we can actually have it in this video of seeing if we can find that pin. So we need to giddy up and get on out of here. Well, y'all, I'm officially an idiot, and I didn't realize that on the newer trucks it doesn't just automatically realize that's electric over hydraulic back there. You're supposed to swap it over. In the settings, let's see, we go to trailer options, change trailer settings, change brake type, change the dump. Look at that, default, because I had this previously set up with my last Diamond C, it was not set up on electric over hydraulic. So that means that, number one, thank God we're in the 450 with some gnarly brakes, because I really couldn't even tell, like, I felt like we're really heavy back there. You know, it's like struggling a little bit to stop, but like nowhere near that would make me believe that the trailer brakes weren't doing anything at all. I just figured we're just that heavy. Well, apparently we've had no trailer brakes this entire time. And the 450's just been handling it. All right, look at that. Now we got some trailer brake. Not always the sharpest tool in the shed, guys. I guess this is what happens when you switch trucks mid-project and you only set one up for the project. Now again, in any other truck, I'd have realized right away that we are not stopping. I always do a couple little test stops as we're pulling away from a job or something like that. And this thing felt like it was stopping. Gotta love these 450. Okay, well, we made it to the ranch. Now, the only issue is clearly we are losing daylight, so we're gonna dump this really quick. We're actually gonna be starting our next project probably, let's see, tomorrow's Labor Day. We'll finally take a day off, but the next day we're gonna jump on the new project, and that's gonna end up being right here. We're gonna need some dirt. This is actually just gonna be to fill in this big drainage swell that kind of opens up right here and prevents us from driving this way like smoothly. You guys gotta kind of sketchily drive across this big old, this little ravine that opens up here. So we'll use some of this to fill that in because it's nice and kind of sandy and rocky. Water should drain through it well. But we gotta dump this quick because if we want any chance of finding that pin tonight, and really the only reason I want to find it is for the video for you guys. I don't know, guys. This might have been our heaviest load yet. Or we've just drained the battery from doing this so much today. Not sure what happened, but apparently I cut myself somewhere along the lines of getting out of the truck and grabbing the remote. Crazy how tall these telescopic trailers go. Okay, let's pull up. We're gonna be taking the golf cart out there. We have lost daylight, guys. Yeah, this sucks, but the golf cart has finally made it out to the ranch. A lot of you guys were asking about that. She's not 100% where I wanted her to be, but she just needed to get out here. I wasn't really working on it or doing anything at the shop with it. And let's see, this is the one vehicle that probably should have some pretty gnarly lights on it, but it doesn't. So we've got my Milwaukee Spotlight, and I'm gonna go just retrace real quick where I took the Mini X today. Let's go. Well, shoot, I don't know, y'all. I have searched. I just backtracked the entire trip that I took this morning, and I don't see it. I hope it is not buried in some trees. I'm gonna come back in the daytime tomorrow. Unfortunately, we didn't find it for this video, but we kind of need it. Like, really do need it for this next project. So, yeah, this is gonna be fun. What's up, and good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. We'll use the trailer lights as lighting for the rest of this video, but I gotta say, after owning this Diamond C trailer, well, this is my second one, I am 110% sold on these things. They are about triple the price of what you can get some dump trailers for, but in my opinion, I would absolutely tomorrow go spend that money again on one of these trailers. I use these things hard. We overloaded the crap out of this thing 3 times today, allegedly. I mean, we were totally air dirt. We were totally within spec, but allegedly overloaded this thing 3 times today on, especially, and that last trip to the ranch, like that's no easy fate for a lot of vehicles and or trailers. And this thing just handles flawlessly. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on the trailer, on my thoughts on the trailer, how it's been owning it, and because anytime we're hooking it up to the beautiful 450 and putting things to work, it is just, you know, I feel like we got to pull the camera out because it's just too good of a looking setup. But with that, we're going to wrap up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that you do not miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, aka a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforapparel.com because if there's anything you want in this life, you got to be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out. Let's just take in the lights and the sunset. Look at that sky. Oh, that looks so sick.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.